Yeah, hi everyone. Osborne over here, certified Scrum Master and Agile Project Manager. Today we'll be looking at how can we minimize change requests even at UAT stage. We're developing some products, coming up with some features of building an application, and we get to UAT stage and the business is saying no, there are some issues or there are some business requirements or there are some features we need to add. How do we minimize change requests? During UAT stage or at UAT stage, I have been in different situations where business will tell you no, even at UAT stage, they tell you no, this is not what we want. Even when you have done internal testing with them, done QA and all that. It may not actually be business alone, it could be regulatory compliance. Okay, look at the latest CBN ATM charges that were just slammed on all the banks. There were some changes that has some charges that CBN increased their ATM charges. So I'm withdrawing from my bank, or that if I withdraw 3 times or whatever, a lot of stories around that charges. And somebody, maybe a particular bank or some developers are building an application for a bank, or internal developers in that bank are actually building something related to ATM charges and the rest. And what do you think will happen? And where probably they're already at UAT stage. They have been building with whatever charges that they know that exist. But all of a sudden, a new regulatory compliance just come into effect. And CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, is actually saying, oh, it's taking effect immediately. So at this stage, what do you think they should do? That is one. Then 2, the business should still come up with something and say, no, it's not meeting our requirements. Or we need to add this. Or we thought we could add this. So first of all, meaning at that UAT stage, we are going back to development. That's what it means. The developers has to go back to development stage to actually infuse or actually add these features to their scripts, to their codes, to reflect what the business wants. Because it's actually, we're building for the business. We're not building for ourselves. We're building to meet users' needs, stakeholders' needs, and all that. So we'll go back to development, but we know very well that this is going to cause delay to their timeline, a serious delay. Because if you are telling me that I should add some features and it must be rolled out to the application with a particular version I'm building for, then just take it that it's not going to be. The timeline is going to shift. There's going to be changes in the timeline. And these changes affect project timeline. So if we had in mind that we're going to build this application for 3 months, and you are coming up when we're already at the UAT stage, then just be rest assured that nothing is going to come up in that 3 months. So there should be an extended time for us. So when we go back to when we go back to development stage, we need to really infuse these features, build these features to our codes, add it. Then we'll go back to internal testing again. We need to test with the business. So ask the business, tell the business that, okay, fine. Now that we have built the new features, you said it's added, then update your PID. Your business requirement document must be updated to reflect the new changes that you have just asked us to do. So at this stage, what do you think will be happening? The whole sprint we just discarded. We start replanning and all that. Sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, everything has to come effect again all over. So once we are done with these stages, then we'll move to the next stage, which may be quality assurance, to actually test the features that we built, the new features that have been added. Even if we have tested the previous one, we test holistically the entire features that we are building. Then before we move to the UAT stage, and there could be the regulatory compliance, like I mentioned earlier, the CBN, the new ATM charges, who has still affected. So these are the reasons why project does not actually meet its timeline from the beginning. So how do we minimize change requests, even at the UAT stage? How do we do this? So how do we minimize? So there should be a thorough requirement gathering. We define and validate requirements early, and we should engage end users in the design and testing stages, all the phases. And there should be a proactive testing in SIT. We identify and resolve all the issues before the UAT. Make sure there's a thorough identification and we should resolve all the issues, everything that has to do with testing, everything that has to do with the features. So if it means bringing the business story into your testing stage, and at the same time bringing all the requirement, all the stakeholders, bring everybody together, let them do the testing. Once testing is done and we have regressional testing, once it's completed and we are sure that there are no issues left again, we could even run another test again. That's what we call regression. We'll run more tests before UAT. So that at that UAT stage, they are just validating, they are just having test cases to validate what they have. Then there should be a robust change management. We assess the impact of the changes and prevent delays. So by following these best practices, teams can actually use that last minute modifications, ensure a smoother UAT, and improve overall project performance. Thank you very much.